Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November Delta Amateur Radio Club monthly board meeting. We got a lot to cover tonight. So as Adam joins us, I'm going to move to the next our next agenda. We'll get started. We'll roll through everything. And Perry, if I could get you to call the roll right quick, and let us know if we have a quorum, I sure would appreciate it.
Absolutely. President Joe Plunk.
Present.
Secretary Perry Hayes is present. Vice President Tyler Henley is absent. Treasurer Paul Broom.
Present.
Director of Programs Adam White.
He snuck in.
Present.
Director of Meetings and Special Events Josh Cunningham.
He has not made it in yet.
All right. Repeater Trustee Dan Fleek.
Here.
Director of Publications Jonathan Urschel,
Present.
Director of Training Joe Lowenthal.
Present.
Club Historian John Reiners.
Eyes here.
We do have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Perry. And I would acknowledge our guest, Steve Frazier, just joining us. As always, all members are welcome at all board meetings. Just ask and we'll send you the link. All right. Let's jump in. The real kind of the opening statement that I have really is that we've talked about it during the special meeting. We've got an opportunity to run and pick up Hamfest for the Memphis market. That'll take a bit of time later in the meeting tonight, and it'll take a bit of time at the membership meeting. This particular slide didn't get updated, but I'll move to that in a minute on the meeting topics for next week. We've got a busy meeting next week. We'll have elections, so those should be a formality. We've got our door prizes. We need to talk about Hamfest a little bit. And we've got a Jeopardy that we can run, that John is going to run for us. So we can run the Jeopardy in conjunction with the door prizes. I think those two would go well together as a kind of a mutually fun kind of thing to run. So that's kind of the meeting next week. It'll be busy. All right, let's dive right in. Any other quick opening comments from anyone before we kind of talk about and move through things? Very good. Perry, you circulated the minutes. Did you have any additional edits that anyone sent out?
No, sir.
All right. Does anyone have any objections to those minutes as circulated, passing those as approved on to the membership?
So moved.
Moved by Paul and seconded by Adam to approve those minutes as circulated. To pass to the membership. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Fantastic. All right, let's move into membership renewals and new applications. So we have a new family, the Garretts, if I'm saying that correctly. We've got a new individual, Julie Stovall. And then we've got two renewals, Taylo and Paul. And at some point, I need to hand you some my renewal. And everybody else, it's that time. Get close to that. Any questions on that? Paul, do you have any other additional information you want to share or provide on our membership renewals and new applications?
No, I don't have anything additional. Those, I had the two. I had Julie and myself, and then I think Perry had the other ones.
Correct.
Are we missing one? Perry, Brett, you said?
No, we're in good shape, Joe. Richard and Angie, I took their application at the meeting last month in Talos.
Okay.
Julie, that was one of Joe's students. We got that yesterday. And then Paul's also renewing. So I think that covers everybody.
Right. Fantastic. All in favor of approving our renewals and new membership applications? I'll put the motion on the table. Anyone opposed to that or need a second for that, please?
Second.
All right, seconded by Perry. All in favor of approving our renewals and new applications, please say aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. All right, we'll move into, sorry about that. I'll yield the floor to Paul for our treasurer's report. Hopefully everybody can see that. I did get it into the agenda this week.
Not a lot of activity this month, so I'll go through this pretty quickly. There was really just one deposit from estate sales for $40, and then one check that actually cleared for $15.29, which was reimbursing Joe for postage, Joe Lowenthal for postage related to that estate sale. And then I've got one check that I'm showing as outstanding. It's to Josh to reimburse him for meeting expenses, which I've got to get to Joe Plunk to sign, and then I'll give it to him at the meeting. So that's really it on the bank statement. Any questions on any of that? Can you go on to the
Yes,
next
sir.
page? So we've got the two CDs here. The first one we renewed back in September, so it's moving along. The second one down there, I renewed it in October. It matured on the 22nd. As I mentioned in my report that I sent out, at the last meeting, the options were the longest option was 13 months. When I actually went in to renew, they had a 19 months. And so I went ahead and took that one because I was anticipating interest rate drops. Now the interest rate on it is a quarter point lower than what it was for the 13 month, but I thought we'd be better off with the longer term there. So I did that.
Okay.
Any questions or comments there?
All right.
So that's it for the treasurer's report. Do you want me to go ahead and talk about the insurance, or you want to wait on that one?
Yeah, what we'll do real quick, I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Perry, seconded by
Seconded.
Jonathan. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report as presented by Paul, say aye. And aye.
Aye.
Right.
All right, motion passes. All right, treasurer's report approved. Let's move into the insurance. And thank you for putting this together, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. So the equipment insurance renewal is up on November 11th or 12th. And the only changes that we made to the list were adding the DMR repeater and the amplifier. That's the last two items on the list. Adding those two items increased the premium from not from last year necessarily. For this year, it increased it by about $67 just to add those two items. So the budget, what we have in the budget for insurance is $300, so we're $2.11 over, but I'm assuming we'll live with that.
Yeah, we'll cover that out of the discretionary fund. The budgeted was 300. As far as approvals needed on this can be an approved expense and can go forward as soon as you choose to execute it per the budget from the club.
So I didn't know if I needed any extra approval since I was going to pay it with e-check, since it's technically not a dual signature.
I think you let everybody know that you're doing it, and I'm comfortable with that. Does anybody else have any objections or concerns with that? Not seeing anything, Paul. So I think I think you're good.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make that payment then.
All right.
That's all I have.
Appreciate that. Any objections or I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
I had a question for Paul.
Go ahead.
Just for the minutes, Paul, what was that total? You talked too fast. Sorry.
Okay, the annual premium is $302.11.
Thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome.
And that is on the screen, but it may be a little small. All right. Anyone have any other questions or concerns regarding the equipment insurance that Paul has put together? All right. We have already approved our treasurer's report. Thank you, Paul. Does anyone have any bills that they need to present to Paul for payment? All right. We'll take that as we're good. Move on. Let's talk real quick about our member meeting next week. Ham 101 is currently up in the air a little bit. I still have a bunch of kits from last that I have. We can do soldering. Jonathan, do you want to do anything? You want to do anything with that?
No, I'm not gonna be able to be there that early this week
Okay,
or next week. Sorry.
fair enough.
So if somebody else could step up and take a week, that would be good.
Dan, you think you might be able to do maybe a DMR help with that? Maybe we can also do some techniques. I'll bring some solder irons and a kit, and if anybody wants to do that, we can dive into that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. We'll do a DMR help desk for Ham 101 next week, as well as any technical soldering or kit building questions that anyone might have. We can also talk DX Commander if anybody wants to talk that. I got mine up and phenomenally impressed with it during CQ Worldwide, but I digress. All right, let's also talk about next week's member meeting. Next week is the November meeting, and at November we have elections. Right now, all of us, unless our chairman of nominations has any additional nominations, are currently, and he's shaking his head that he doesn't, are comfortable and will be re-elected as basically a slate, so that should go pretty quickly. Then we've got to, and I'll entertain some discussion around this, is how we want to order this at the actual membership meeting. We got a couple of things that we need to for sure talk about. We got to for sure talk about our Hamfest because we have to talk about that to the membership, as we will be needing to sign a contract, and that contract is not in this year's budget. So the membership is going to have to approve, at a minimum, going to have to approve the contract amounts and the HICS amounts for the venue, because those two contracts, well, the venue at a minimum, we could defer HICS potentially into next year so that we could put it into the 2026 budget if we chose to. But the venue budget, so that we can lock the date, we'll need to have the membership approve that as a non-budgeted item for that. We've got our Aries Jeopardy that John has, as well as our door prizes that we've put together. And Jonathan's done a great job with that, and thankful for that. And then we'll have a real quick session on club business. So the quick discussion point that I'd ask the board is, what do we feel for the order of discussion around this? My thoughts on this, and I'll share them, is the door prize giveaways are the last thing we do, because I need to kind of hold everybody there so that they talk about and we can hear them and get their opinions on the Hamfest and other things that we're trying to talk about and need their engagement for at the club level. So that's my thought. We'll talk about Hamfest first, and then we'll do club business, and then we'll do the door prizes and the giveaways. Feedback, thoughts?
I think the order that you have it is fine. The Jeopardy thing that I have really isn't necessarily geared towards Aries though. It's actually more geared towards the club, so we could just call it amateur radio Jeopardy or
Okay.
Something generic like that.
I will get that updated.
But I think the order's fine because we want to do the Jeopardy before we do the door prizes because I thought we were going to give some tickets out for getting
Oh
some
yeah, well,
questions
I'd say
right.
we could do we could potentially even have it. Yes, we can do the Jeopardy and then lead into the door prizes. Final Jeopardy. If you make it, you get some door prize tickets. Any other thoughts, anyone? We're quiet tonight. All business.
Well, there's no anticipated remaining business to discuss, I'm guessing, at this point. None we're aware of.
Correct. That is a correct statement. The business of the meeting is the new business that we're talking about and the door prizes. Correct.
Well, you might want to, I mean, you'll need to probably discuss the December. Are we going to want to discuss December and the planning for that? Because that's like a potluck or something, isn't it?
Yep,
Yes, sir. That is a good
Winter field day.
point. But typically what'll happen is on the December, we'll buy the board, we'll buy a ham or two, and we'll bring that, and everybody else brings a side dish for a potluck, and then we run the room up as a potluck, and there is no official program, and it's just kind of a fun social gathering in December.
So do we want to have the sign up for what they're going to bring there this meeting, or like how do they? I'm just how do we know what anybody's bringing?
That's a good point. In the
You know-
past, we haven't really ever had a sign up, and it just kind of works out.
Okay.
But we can go ahead.
Haven't we done it by suffix before, like we do the Delta preamble? So if your suffix begins, A through H, bring a dessert, and
The
Okay.
last couple of
so
years,
forth.
I don't remember doing anything, and it just has
Okay.
worked out.
Yeah,
I
no
don't,
problem.
I don't remember any years like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just works out.
Okay.
It's a potluck. You luck of the draw. But I'm not opposed to doing a sign up sheet just so we know how many people or what's coming. We can put a sheet out and say, hey, let us know if you're coming and tell us what you might bring.
But
I'm
you
totally-
make it voluntary, just say, hey,
Yeah.
if you want to say, but don't
Yeah.
say that you have to sign up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Easy enough.
Winter field day.
Winter field day is in January.
Yep.
And I think Adam's got some information on that.
We've got about 6 people that expressed interest between the Signal link and emails. Carolyn found like a 25% discount during that time frame if you use the code CAMP25 or something like that to on the cabin, so we could go that route. I still need to call them and ask if they'd allow a travel trailer in the driveway. Yeah, we got a halfway decent response. So.
Okay. And I'm still looking at an alternate location, and I have had some things pop up in my personal life that have taken a lot of my time. So I haven't been able to make the phone call for Adam to look at an alternate location, but I'll get that done this week.
Cool. Understandable.
Yeah, there's like Ham has access to a building in Millington that is pretty decent. It's the top floor of their fire department training center.
Could we stay overnight? That's my main goal.
Probably.
All right.
I know their public safety director.
Cool.
You probably won't care.
All right. Sounds like we got a good couple of options. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, and Adam, if you do talk to the park, mention to them, that's we're the group that does the swamp stompers because we do they're pretty familiar with us. So if that kind of helps put them at ease of who it is that's wanting to do something maybe a little unusual, that might help.
Gotcha. Cool.
Which reminds me, I'm going to make a quick announcement about swamp stompers, I guess. This meeting because it gets lost in December. So
Okay. I recommend a Sparks article.
yeah. Ooh. I mean, I'd have it in time for this month, but I'll do something for December.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Any other quick topics on that? We'll give Dan an option for a minute to talk about our repeaters, and then we'll jump into the new stuff.
The 8.2 is scratchy. I did a little bit of testing this weekend to see if I could reproduce the problem without the antenna. And Adam, I may need your help this weekend just to go out there and try some things.
Or anyone else that wants to help.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it gets really scratchy at the beginning and then it clears out. And then you've got the complaints of the people who've got where I can't really tell whether they're having issues getting in because the repeater or because they've got a bad setup. And so we're gonna have to troubleshoot that. What I want to do is try to figure out whether it's down below or up on top. So what I've done as a test, what we'll do is connect a dummy load to out of the duplexer, and then see how it gets on the scratchy edge of things. And that may or may not be a good test, and maybe get Michael Knight has a service monitor now, so we may see if Michael can come over one weekend and try it out. So it's going to take a little bit to figure that out. I don't want to do a tower climb if we don't have to, but we may have to suffer for a while.
Dan,
Yeah.
what about running a piece of coax out that isn't there an exit door on that end of the building?
Yeah.
And put a temporary antenna up so you have actually transmission through some transmission line and have an antenna.
Yeah, that would work too. That's just a little bit longer than what I've been doing, and may give you an environment where you've got a charged antenna.
Yeah, and you can see if it happens with that antenna, then you can take it off and put the dummy load on and see how it works.
Yeah. Yep, that's a thought.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. I've got a GP9 that if you want to use it.
Okay. We'll talk.
Okay.
How much of a mast would you need to stick that on, Dan, to get it up a little bit?
Not much.
Yeah. Maybe just get it
10
above the
feet?
building.
All right. I may have a tripod or a ladder or something that you might be able to use.
I've got a tripod.
Okay, fantastic. Is that what
Yep.
you had at the bike, Bluff City Blues?
Yeah, basically. Well, that was an Ed Fong J pole, but the tripod was what I'm thinking of doing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Welcome, Josh. All right, let's move on into kind of the topic of the night, which let's talk about what we've all found out about the Hamfest. Real quick though, I will ask Jonathan would very much appreciate it if we got our Sparks articles to him earlier than sooner rather than later. Yes, I'm guilty. If we could try to get into him Friday night, that'd be super helpful. I'm going to do my best, Jonathan, to get them to you Friday night instead of Saturday night. I'd love to see everybody that has the ability to send an article into it and have some wonderful articles in Sparks. Jonathan, anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate that. All right. Here's what I got. This, hopefully, can everybody see that on the right-hand side of the screen there?
Yes.
It may be a smidge small. I was trying to make it all work in the real estate. I put it to the left and kind of summed it up. The Agri Center International will honor our nonprofit status. They'll honor our tax exempt status. So what that allows us to do is it allows us to get Hall A, which is the hall that's closest to the National Weather Service side. It's about 8,300 square feet, give or take a few square feet. Has two big load-in doors that we could raise and a single entrance door that we can bring everybody in and out of. They will allow us to have a kind of a flea market in the parking lot. But for them to cordon off the parking lot and have it kind of as a designated area cost us $500. We can have concessions, meaning we can roll up a grill, kind of like at the back door, as long as it's 25 feet away from the building, and we can have our hamburger grill out the back for concessions. They are not opposed to that at all and are comfortable with that. One of the other things that they also allow us to do that they did get permission to do is typically at the Hamfest Free Fest, there was a microphone and a speaker assembly. I think somebody was either volunteering that or donating that or had that. Instead of having to us rent that through Nolan, they're comfortable. They're fine with us bringing in kind of that microphone and speaker PA announcement system. The main space is $1,800. Each seminar room is $300. On the contract, we currently have 2 penciled in. At the time that we were discussing this, that I was discussing this with her, they have a third one. If we thought we wanted to do the third seminar room and really beef up the seminar track, it'd be another $300 to do all 3 seminar rooms. That may or may not be necessary based on the fact that the seminar room, one of them would be testing for basically half the day, and the other one could be the seminars for the other half of the day. If I did my math right, all of that totals up to $2,900. And as soon as we can get the membership approval, we can sign the contract and secure the dates. Questions on the Agri Center space? They do have an exclusive arrangement with Hicks Convention for tables and chairs. So the tables and chairs look a little something like the tables are $9 a piece. The chairs are $1.50 a piece. And we do have to provide the chairs for the seminar rooms. The Agri Center does not have any chairs for the seminar rooms. So the current quote that I got from Hicks has 250 folding chairs. That's 140 for the tables. And then I think it's the remainder in the seminar rooms, split between the 2 seminar rooms, and a couple of tables for the testing room, so that the testing room has tables and chairs for testing. Delivery is $75 one time. They do not currently have a setup fee on the quote. What that means is we have to break down and stack and set up all the tables and chairs. Hicks will do that for a 25% of the rental fee. So basically for our rental, it'd probably be about $250, $300, depending on where it ends up. They will come in and set everything up, and they will come in and tear everything down. So one of the discussion points that we could certainly talk through is whether or not we feel it is a viable solution, that maybe it might be a good use of time, effort, and manpower to have Hicks do the setup. We can certainly discuss that. Hicks will honor our sales tax exemption, although the current quote is showing sales tax, but when we send in the paperwork, sales tax would come off. I'll pause there. Any questions?
Yeah, do we need more than one room? Testing can be from like 8 to 10 in the morning. And then you can have the rest of the day for several seminars.
That's certainly something we can discuss. Some of the feedback that I took away, maybe wrongly, was that it would be good to have kind of a beefed up couple of extra seminars that would help us with David and the ARRL, really kind of having an emergency preparedness forum track to kind of help us with that. But we don't necessarily, we could drop one. Just like we could add one, we could drop one.
Can we drop or add on short note? Can we adjust the contract with, as long as it's within reason?
I'll ask that question. I didn't ask that question specifically. My suspicion would be if the seminar room was available and we wanted to pick it up, picking up would be a little bit easier than dropping.
Yeah.
I will ask that question and email back around.
As long as we, like, if we just, because I think we're all kind of seeing how this thing evolves. It might be nice to hold it for now, but if we let them know, like by January, that, hey, we only really need one, would they accommodate letting us drop one?
Yep. I will ask that question and feedback via email to the board.
For every seminar, you have to have manpower to do the seminar itself, as well as somebody coordinating it and all of that. So,
yes, sir. And that's one of the things that I heard loud and clear from the board during the special called session is that we are all for this, but we all can't do this, and that we are all going to need the membership to help us do this. Now, when we were at the Bartlett Pancake Breakfast, many people did stop by the tent. Thanks for that, Dan. That pancake breakfast was a smashing success, and said they were committed to helping with the event. And we took a list of names and people and made note of all that and said, let us get the venue date secured. And then we're all going to be on board and need to get sleeves rolled up and get in the gas to get it all figured out.
Yeah, I think so far we've had at least 3 people volunteer a seminar. Steve Romagni on DX. I think Billy Freeman was interested in working with that, and I think we may even be able to get the Arkansas Oxcom in.
I did hear from Allen, that the Arkansas Oxcom person is committed and is able to come on that date. So that is a definite. as soon as we get everything secured.
Well, this is great news. I think this is great news about the Agri Center. I think that's a great option.
It was the lowest option I could find, and I called
Yeah.
a lot of venues.
No,
Short
I
of
think
Bartlett.
yeah.
Bartlett was cheaper. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Steve. I cut you off.
Yeah. No, I think I think that that makes a big difference in us going forward, or us, y'all. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, there's camping nearby, so if you want to stay in your RV overnight, good parking.
You don't even have to move your RV to go to the Ham Fest.
Yep.
I've been down there in a while. Are there spots available down there? That place is, it's been years since I've been down there, but man, I'm surprised how full that place is.
Yeah, I don't know how far in advance you have to have.
I think there's people that basically live down there, and that was years ago. It's probably gotten worse.
Usually the west end is open more so than the east end.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, a lot
Um,
of people are excited about it.
Agreed. As
All right,
soon as we get our venue date locked, I was planning on reaching out to the vendor list. Let's move to the next slide. This is what I obtained from MARA from Free Fest. This was their kind of multi-year budget that they had. And a couple of interesting points in there. The table fees are in here, and their table fees, and they only charge table fees 1 year. So they basically, if you look at the numbers, they were charging $5 a table, $300. They sold 60 tables. And the more interesting number is also the concessions number that they were able to factor into that. Now, I will caveat the concessions number in that a lot of the food for concessions was donated to MARA for the event. So if we look at the concessions number and go, oh, wow, $1,300 or $1,500, we've got to factor into that number. We would have some real cost to go against that number from a contribution. And one of the things that I'll also mention, and then we'll circle back, is I don't know, we're not going to have all the answers as a board. I think that the committee that we put together for this event will have some things that they'll need to address. How much are they going to charge for the tables? What might be concession fees if appropriate? Will there be an admission charge? A couple of those things will have to get worked out by for this. Now, we do have the ability of giving ourselves a little bit of leniency if the ARR grant does come through, and it's expected to. And I noticed David joined us. If the grant comes through, then that gives if we've written our budget correctly, that gives us a little flexibility to say, hey, we're going to run this, on the first year and ask for donations or not charge a door fee to try to figure it out and give the committee a little bit more runway to sort this out for 2027. And again, I think the group of people that come together are going to get to be allowed, and we're going to need them and expect them to answer a lot of these questions for the board. Because that's what I heard very clear is we want the membership to be involved in running this. Okay. That's my 2 cents. I've done quite a bit of the chat. I'll stop and pause for feedback and observations.
So in these numbers, what how are we accounting for door prizes?
So that's an interesting question because the numbers don't have the door prizes in there because all of the door prizes were donated or perceived as donations. So they weren't tracked in the budget per se. We probably will need to track door prizes because we'll have to probably fund a few of them or some of them. But hopefully not all of them. Most of them, hopefully we can still get donated. Did that answer your question, Jonathan?
Yeah, and so I guess it kind of tracks back a little bit to the length of the event, right? Because in the previous events, there were door prizes every hour, and so you've got the venue set to run from 8 to 5, I guess. So would we be thinking about running that the entire day, or would we cut that off at 3 or 4 like it the old event, and the last couple hours are cleanup of, how are we planning, how do we do that, you think?
So the interesting thing about the venue at the Agri Center is, unlike Bartlett, which at Bartlett it was every hour you were in the venue you incurred a charge, so you could potentially have a non-fixed fee.
Okay.
The Agri Center's venue fee is fixed, and it does have access hours, but they're like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we're not going to run the event to 7 p.m.
Right,
I would
right.
anticipate we would run the event to 7 p.m. Did that
It
answer your
usually,
question?
it usually fizzles out late afternoon.
I think the main prize was usually 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and everybody was cleaned up and out of there by 5.
Right. Historically, it has been, but I think part of the problem with that was the last few years that the the vendors have kind of dwindled, so there wasn't a whole lot of,
Right.
wasn't we're gonna in this we have the potential to have a whole lot more vendors in this space, I feel like, and so maybe that would lend itself to a longer day, and so
Right.
you have to start thinking about, all right, well, if we're gonna be door prizing it 8 hours, basically, we got to come up with at least 7 reasonable rounds of door prizes and then $1,000 at the end, right?
Yes, sir. And hopefully, and that is a hope, Jonathan, and that's a personal goal of mine for this is to get more vendors engaged. But it's very hard to engage a vendor right now without a venue and a secure date. As soon as we get the venue and the secure date, it's a lot easier to reach out to vendors like Chat Radio, DX Engineering, even HRO. Some of the traditional amateur radio vendors, and say, hey, can you send somebody with a tablecloth and a show special? We're not asking to
Yeah.
bring, a truckload of inventory, but come hang out with us and run a show special for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
remember you got Gigaparts just down the road at Huntsville.
Very, very true.
Yep.
You can forget that.
You don't think they'll make the trip, huh?
They wanted to charge MARA $600 for, quote, a $1,500 package that had mystery boxes in it that you didn't know what was in the mystery boxes.
Okay.
That's their Hamfest donation to a club.
$600 you pay.
Right.
It's not a donation.
That's right. DX
Yeah.
Engineering gave $100 gift certificate.
Right. I'm very hopeful, honestly, that DX Engineering will send somebody down. I mean, hey, somebody with an iPad and a show special and a tablecloth cover, and DX Engineering's there. They can grow their presence next year, but at least they would be here, and they might get some revenue and traffic from it, and they would be a new vendor.
Yeah.
And very low cost for them. Basically a hotel room, basically.
Well, also, David, part of the grant is this first one is sort of like emergency preparedness and some other, I mean, so
Yeah.
we should have other kind of vendors. We should be looking at not
Right.
just radio people, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
because we're
you
going
can
to
get,
pull in, I think, a lot other people from that
Right.
world too, right? For the
Right.
first year anyway.
I don't know. I don't want to take, I don't want to hijack it, but we've got a few things that we've got to focus on to see which way we are going to go. And, I'm willing to, because y'all are busy with what you're already doing, and I've been fairly involved with Free Fest over the years, so I'm willing to jump in and do some stuff, but to get some direction. Number one, are we going to in any way try to still keep a connection to Le Bonheur?
I personally am not opposed to that. I don't know that the board has answered that, Steve.
Yeah.
I think that,
I mean, because that's going to, that's a very, in my view, that's a very pivotal. I started to say important, but it's an important pivotal thing. Are we still doing this as a fundraiser, or are we doing this? What keeps popping into my head is if we're going to, I don't want to totally change it, but this is an opportunity to change it. Do we want to, is Free Fest, are we not getting vendors because it's called Free Fest and people are thinking, oh my God, it's a free thing. I don't want to go to that.
Yeah, I'm all for calling it Memfest.
I'm hearing that we've got, emergency services wanting to come. I'm hearing we got several clubs wanting to get active and be involved. It keeps popping in my head that we change it to more of instead of a Free Fest, make it an expo.
You could still have the door prizes.
Oh yeah, you can still have the door prizes.
Do that. Do the door prize money for Le Bonheur and get the door prizes.
Yeah, I mean, you can still have the door prizes, the flea market, the different stuff, but
I think the key word would be a donation. I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to have the same results.
Right. I think the key word here would be a donation to Le Bonheur after expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, either that, or do we want to see if they want to have give them the opportunity of having a table or something there where they could take donations.
They could solicit donations outright. That's fair.
MARA's done a lot for them over the years, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody that I know of. I know they've done a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but they've never had a presence that I know of.
Right. Good point. And here's an observation that I was going to also share a little bit. As a board, at least from my perspective, I'm trying not to put a lot of shape to this yet, because I really want to empower, at least in my mind, I'm really wanting to empower the committee that's going to take ownership of this, to give them the flexibility to shape it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I was hesitating too, but we can't. I mean, before we go too far with this, I see those as real important. One of the main real important things is, are we going to still be tied with Le Bonheur, where this is more of a fundraiser for them, or is this an awareness thing for ham radio?
One thing you have to remember, the tickets were basically furnished by Le Bonheur. The prize tickets were, so that's going to be another expense, the printing.
But how much is that? I don't have an idea, but I mean, are we?
I mean, it was probably, how many pages was that, Joe? Probably 500 pages.
More than that. I mean, I can get a
But
figure.
if we're not doing, I mean, heck, we know some people, I'm not going to name any names, but we know who, I mean, we got a lot of people that were buying 50, 75, 100 tickets because it was a donation.
You're right.
If we're doing it just as a ticket, as an admission, we don't need 1,000 tickets. Well, heck, if it was $1 a piece and we were donating $5,000, I know that there was a discount in volume amounts, but I mean, we were roughly printing 4,000 or 5,000 tickets. And we don't have 5,000 people that show up.
That is true.
Mhm.
See, that's why I'm saying there's some basic things that we've got to, the basic things are going to dictate what the rest of it is.
Right. And I think, so here's kind of where I was headed and what I think. At the special board meeting that we called, the board of directors said that we wanted to go forward. We've got a preliminary rough, the bulk of the budget's kind of presented here. We need to present this to the membership and really want to see what need to see what the membership's feeling is on that, because I heard that as a directive from the board, is the membership's got to be engaged. If the membership says go, and at the very same meeting next week, we need to ask them, at a minimum, the membership would need to approve the venue budget as an expense that wasn't in as an unapproved budgeted item as a minimum. Everything else we can defer into the 2026 budget and we can put it in the budget. So the membership, to me, has a critical path for us that they've got to answer the question. Do they want to do it? And would they approve the budget to do it so that we could do it? And then are they willing to serve on the committee? And then we get those 3 yeses, then who's going to lead the committee? That's the next big question that we've got. And he may be in this meeting. I don't know. Maybe. He's smiling like he might be. So that's how I see it. Does anybody have any comments, or do they see it any differently?
I see the first thing is how many people are willing to volunteer to do the work for the Ham Fest. Then you can go for the budget.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, and also, I mean, the entire membership is not in that meeting, right?
That's
So,
also correct.
so we would get to see whoever's in the room that might be interested, but I don't know, somebody's keeping the role of the entire membership, but some sort of directed communication about this needs to go out probably during the meeting or shortly after the meeting or something.
I am anticipating, Jonathan, sending out from the president's email to all of the membership saying, hey, this is what's going on. The board is asking you as a membership to step up. If you can, please come to the meeting. Otherwise, let me know what your thoughts are, because we really need the membership. And as a point of order, we got to do it this way. The quorum of the membership is represented by the members that are there next week.
Okay.
That membership quorum will have to approve the budget expense as a non-budgeted expense. So that group of people at the membership meeting will basically have to approve the venue expense as a non-budgeted expense.
Are you going to try to send that out this week before the meeting next week, or?
Oh yeah, I was going
Okay.
to try to send that email from the president's email. Probably won't be tonight, but I'll try to get it out tomorrow night.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
not going to be really long-winded. Less is more here. Here's what's
Yes.
going on. Here's what's going on. Here's what we found. Watch the 2 videos if you're interested, and come see us at the meeting. If you can't make the meeting, let me know. Send me an email back.
Yeah. Oh, and you might win a prize if you show up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. So I've heard from a couple, but everybody else has been quiet. So I don't want to go around and put everybody on the spot, but I do want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to kind of address those 3 main points.
I'll just point out that, you know, we might not have 100% attendance at every meeting, but if they're not going to be at the November meeting, they're probably not going to want to be involved in planning an event. So just want to make that known.
Okay, because the November's the goodie meeting. That's when you get door prize.
Bribery gets you everywhere.
Sometimes.
Some people stay away just to make sure they don't get elected.
Yeah.
There is that. We got
Those
some
are
big
usually the
shoes.
ones we elect. Those are usually the ones we elect at our club.
We got some big shoes that are going to need filling in the next 18 months.
Question, Joe, when you got the numbers from Art, were they released to the public, or do we need to blank those figures out?
These are numbers that he pulled from their information. He basically went back and pulled these up out of basically, my understanding is he pulled them out of their treasurer's reports.
Well, is it to go to the public is the question. I
This
don't want to release
information-
something that they don't want totally in the public.
I will ask that question just as a courtesy, and circle back before we post this particular video.
Those numbers I could change it, but those numbers are in the video of the special meeting.
Yeah, just the 2025 numbers.
That's okay.
This one has the historical numbers. The called meeting had just the 2025 numbers.
Yeah, if I did, just tell him that it's in both of them, and if I need to change something, I can.
Okay.
It's not really.
I will reach out to them.
It's not easy, but it can be done. I can keep everything, but blur out the numbers.
Sure.
But heck, we've mentioned that, we're mentioning the numbers, so that's going to be really hard to change.
Right. I mean, look, they were very forthright with the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they want to see it go forward. They are willing to help as much as they can help. They reached a point where they made decisions that it was no longer their time. So we have an opportunity to step in and go forward, recraft it, remake it. But to Steve's point, do we carry Le Bonheur? I think that's a question. I think the board's not opposed to it. That was a consensus I heard last time, but I do think that it's fair to ask our membership as well. And this may be the opportunity to make it slightly different and an expo, and make it much broader and a little more, I don't know, a little different.
I kind of envision it, and it's gonna, it may not be for next year, but I think we could start trying to go that way. I see it, with Mary Jean saying the thing about having kids involved and some different things. I think we can make it, that's why I'm calling it a little bit more of an expo, make it a little bit more hands-on, especially at the Agri Center. When it was in the back of the thing at Bartlett, I don't think it probably got the exposure that it's going to get at the Agri Center.
And there are other events that weekend, so we will get foot traffic.
Yeah. And I would be when and if we go to present this to the foundation grants committee, let's make sure that we do stress that youth involvement track, and that will be a very, very good selling point. Just extra ammo.
I say, David, don't you kind of see that? I hate to lose the heritage of Free Fest, but to save the momentum and move forward, I think we need to I'm not a marketing person for sure, but I think this is a good opportunity to rethink and remarket this thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we want to retain that connection with Le Bonheur and make that part of it, there's absolutely no issue with that. I think it's a good thing. Personally, Le Bonheur saved my life when I was 9 years old. That's a connection with me to that hospital and how much good it's done in the Mid-South for a lot of folks. But we can do that, but expand upon that and open it up to new ideas and new people and make it more inclusive in a better, broader swath across the amateur and related hobbies and folks services.
You know, I'm kind of envisioning, you know, having the Memphis Digital, you know, more involved, you know, have it where it's more interactive and more hands-on with some stuff, and you know, get some of the smaller groups some exposure. Now, you know, then it gets complicated. You know, we're supporting the other groups, but you know, they support us in some ways too. So it's I don't see that as a big conflict. Now, I don't think that we've got to be a little bit careful, and Joe knows more about that. You know, years ago, it was kind of the you know, Fest was kind of a separate entity, and then it got complicated about clubs contributing different amounts of money and distributing that back out and all that. I don't know that we want to get into that, but I think getting, you know, if the clubs are wanting to be involved, then let's give them a way of, you know, getting some exposure, because, you know, while they are involved.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I had in mind for that, Steve, would be like, okay, hey, Neshoba, you be in charge of door prizes. Crowley's Ridge, you do the forum tracks, or you know, something along those lines. And what that does is it's instant subcommittees to handle a specific aspect of the event. That doesn't become overwhelming for a club, because it's the club that can handle that, and it's not a single person. That's my kind of initial thought on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Symbiosis can be a good thing. You just got to watch out to the point that it doesn't become a parasitic infestation,
Right.
so to speak. You know what I mean?
And we will have to walk this. We'll have to walk this. Yeah. Right now, my vision, my goal is we've got to have an event this year. If we skip the year, it's going to be very, very hard to recover it for the market.
Yeah.
So
rain almost did that down at Louisiana, and it just about killed it, but it's back now. They skipped a year, but another group jumped in and re-energized and helped them out, and that, but it was hard to get it restarted.
I mean, a lot of y'all remember Free Fest actually did a virtual Free Fest during COVID, and I think that was one of their best years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was best on ticket sales.
So I mean, they did not even shut down during COVID when most things did. So that says a lot about continuity and keeping it going.
So to kind of close this, because I don't want to.
Yeah. There's
a lot of conversation that's to be had about this. We could talk a long time about it, but to kind of move it and advance it and close it, I think the board is still in agreement. Correct me if I'm wrong, that this is something that we want to do, and that we do want to take it to the membership. Is that a correct statement? Everybody's nodding. Anybody? No? Okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye. And Joe, we understand that we understand your position of, you know, you've got some helping here, but you have to pull back a little bit. We totally understand that and appreciate that. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. You were fixing to say something. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I mean, recommend going ahead. It's just, I'm going to have to back off. I can't.
Totally understand. So what I'd like to see us do as a board is I'd like for us all at the membership meeting to, as a board, as we can be, say, this is something that we feel is important. We recommend to the membership that we go forward with this, but we need the membership's help. And the question that we directly ask the membership is, membership, do you want to do this? And it's a simple yes, no, raise it to a yes, no. They say, yes, we'll help. Then we've got to ask the membership, will you approve the budget, non-budgeted expense for the venue expense so that we can sign and secure the date? And that's a simple raise to a yes, no. And then at that point we say, okay, the subcommittee, the committee is formed. When can y'all start working together as a committee to start making this happen? Does anybody have any thoughts on that action plan?
It sounds good to me. I mean, it seems like the right way to proceed.
I think
Get your club
main thing is
membership
to
on board.
emphasize it's a cash outlay to begin with, but that's we just we're stumbling in the dark about what our return is going to be, and how much we can get from ARRL. But I mean, we're exposed, but we've got a big safety net below us.
Correct. And that was, I was going to wrap that up and let David echo that. When the committee comes back to us and very quickly, that's the priority, is to get a budget put together by the end of December and gets that fully budgeted. We need to get that to the ARRL to give us that safety net that gives us that risk, kind of that risk mitigation. And that would be the priority of the committee, is get the budget put together pretty quick.
Yeah, let's get that budget put together, and then we can get the proposal put together. Joe, you and I will work on that and get that final document draft going to the awards committee, and then I'll dance that thing up to them and put a pistol to their head and say, approve this, and go from there.
I mean, from what you said during the other meeting, and off the, just thinking back, we're talking $5,000 or $6,000 is what we're kind of looking at right now for the Memphis market. That sounds like that's kind of going to be a no-brainer, David, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's not a big request, really. We gave away considerably more to a Hamfest out in Arizona, so.
Okay. All right. I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. I think that's the action plan. Does anybody want to kind of formalize that a little bit, or are we okay with how it's been presented?
Make a motion to accept the action plan as presented.
All right. Motion made, seconded by
Second.
Paul. All right. The motion is to present to the membership whether they would like to engage in this and to do it. And then if they do say yes to that, to approve the budget as an up, yes or a down, an up or a down, yes or no vote. That is the motion on the floor, made by Jonathan, seconded by Paul. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Fantastic. All right. So that wraps that. I'm trying to be, not trying to rush it, but just trying to be respectful. Anybody have any special reports that they'd like to walk through real quick that we haven't covered?
Tech class, a general class started 9 students.
That's a good job, Joe. 9 students. Good.
We had 7 in the class, but 9, 2 of them were sick.
That's pretty good.
Good.
We got to find you a trainee and apprentice. Working on it.
Yeah. Joe, I don't know how many new hams Joe's been responsible for, but it's tremendous. Just tremendous.
It is indeed. A lot. If you ask him, I bet he could tell you.
Yeah.
633, I think, is what the tech number is. And then there's close to a total of 1,000 licenses that have been earned through the classes.
Yeah.
Hint, there may or may not be a Jeopardy question regarding that.
All right. Anyone else?
Hey, Josh, while you're on here, for the December thing, do you want me to bring what I've got that we can use for the December thing? You want me to bring that next week? I mean, I could take it back, but just so you can see it and feel comfortable about what we got.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Joe, do you want me to go over my budget line item or do that later?
We can certainly discuss that. We talk budgets in January. Is when we bring budgets up. But just to point that out real quick, Adam did go put together a proposal to bring to the board, and I apologize that I didn't put it in the agenda to get what's the official name, Adam?
Kraken SDR.
It's a Kraken SDR directional finding device. With all of the shenanigans that we've been having going on and just the interest that we've had in direction finding, it's a roughly $1,200 budgeted item that we could have a lot of fun with the club, and it could be useful for the club if people start interfering with or doing things that they shouldn't be doing on the airwaves. So it has a kind of a dual purpose to it. And we can talk about that a little bit more next meeting. Think about that. Adam, why don't you go ahead and circulate that to the board, and everybody can look over that, and then we'll get through. And here's the other thing, and I'll put it in a bug in our ear. We could write an ARRL grant for that as well. There's a different grant for that would support that if we wanted to ask them to fund that via a grant.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Awesome.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, I would certainly entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Joe, seconded by Dan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. Very much appreciated. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and see y'all next week at the membership meeting.
Thanks.